influence of drugs or alcohol, that we call it as DUI, is one of the well-documented risk factors for road traffic accidents stated by WHO 2004. That is mean, it has been known that alcohol use impairs driving skills and increase accident risk. It has been found that while driving under the influence of alcohol, the risk of having an accident causing injury or death increase exponentially. It is a public health concern because it puts not only the driver at risk but also the passengers and other road users. For the general driving population, the risk of being involved in a crash starts to be rise significantly at a blood alcohol concentration level BAC of 0.04 gram. The principal concern regarding drug driving is that driving under the influence of any drugs that acts on the brain could impair one's motor skill, cognitive functions, reaction time, and other functions that are required for safe driving. Policies on DUI have been adopted in most of the countries all over the world, including Malaysia. In Malaysia, the legal blood alcohol limit is set at 0.08 gram per 100 milliliter. Information on the status of the problem, especially in this country, is very important in setting up priorities with regards to policy implementation, planning of intervention programs on targeted groups, and deciding on the need to gear up enforcement activities by relevant agencies. Getting behind the wheel of a vehicle such as car, truck, or motorcycle or any other vehicles after consuming alcohol or drugs is a serious crime. Drinking and driving is sometimes called driving under the influence, or we call it as DUI, or driving while intoxicated, or we call it as DWI, and involve operating a vehicle with a blood alcohol content BAC level of at least 0.08%. However, even a small amount of alcohol can lead to harmful situations. Some drivers may not even show warning signs of being under the influence, but that does not mean it is any less dangerous. It is important to remember that any form of drinking and driving is illegal and can come with strict punishment. The largest group at risk for drinking and driving are those who binge drink or are struggling with an alcohol use disorder, that we call it as AUD. This means that they consume a large amount of alcohol in a short period of time, putting them at risk for harmful side effects. It takes roughly 30 minutes to 2 hours for alcohol to be absorbed into your bloodstream. During this time, your breathing may slow down and your cognitive skills may be delayed. Because of this, it is always dangerous to drink and drive at the same time. In this video, we would like to discuss on the issue of deaths from drunk driving accidents is a serious problem. In Malaysia, for the offence of drunk driving which can result in death, offenders are punished under Section 44 of the Road Transport Act 1987, which provides for a maximum fine of 10,000 ringgit Malaysia and a maximum jail term of 12 months. Indeed, this law is seen as weak and the punishment is too light. It does not commensurate with the loss of life and the suffering of the victim's family. Therefore, deaths by drunk drivers should be considered as murder. They should be fully responsible for all the possible consequences of their actions and thoughts, because they know that there is a possibility that bad things can happen. Driving under the influence, or we call it as DUI, of alcohol or drugs are major factors of accidents, death, and serious injuries. Even with a small amount of alcohol consumption, drivers are twice likely to be involved in traffic accidents than sober drivers.
Hi, my name is Harnina binti Muhammad Rasmi. I'm going to present about the factors affecting driving under the influence of alcohol. There's no single cause of alcoholism. In fact, there are dozens of risk factors that play a role in the development of an alcohol addiction. These risk factors interact differently in every individual. leading to alcohol use disorders in some and not in others. Many factors can influence the development of alcohol addiction, making it almost impossible to predict accurately whether a person will suffer from alcoholism. Although it is a person's personal choice to start or not to drink, many studies show that the development of alcoholism after drinking a lot begins beyond the individual's control. It is also true that there is no factor or group of factors which will determine whether a person becomes intoxicated or not. There are 4 factors affecting driving under the influence of alcohol. The first one is culture. Many social and cultural factors influence alcoholism. In general, where drinking is acceptable or encouraged, alcohol abuse disorders are more likely to develop. A culture of permissiveness toward driving after drinking for men. Perhaps the most commonly example is college, where alcohol consumption is widely celebrated and embraced. Even particularly dangerous form of drinking, such as binge drinking. Social and cultural factors also impact treatment. Cultures where drinking is considered shameful may cause alcoholics to hide their condition and avoid treatment due to the stigma of being labeled an alcoholic. The next factors is drivers' drinking habit. The driving attitude and safety attitude show driving tendencies of drivers. It indicated that most subjects admitted that they had the tendency of sensation seeking and were more adventurous under the influence of alcohol. Higher drinking frequencies may increase the likelihood of the choice of driving after drinking. Under the influence of alcohol, drivers exhibited the characteristic of being impulsive, sensation-seeking, adventurous, and moving faster. At the same time, the ability of judgment, recognition, reaction, and operation were impaired. Therefore, drinking driving will produce a high probability to a serious accident. The next factors is inadequate knowledge, lack of knowledge of how much alcohol is permissible before driving. Drunk drivers choose to drive simply because they do not know they have reached the legal limit. Inadequate knowledge of DUI status and inadequate understanding of the relationships between BAC, which is blood alcohol concentration, and impairment, and between impairment and crash risk. The last factor is attitude toward driving after drinking. Drivers who are more likely to pursue or disregard risk are more likely to engage in heavy drinking, as are those who are less inhibited. The expectations an individual has about drinking also play a big role. Individuals who have positive expectations about alcohol's impact are more likely to develop alcoholism than individuals who have negative expectations about alcohol effects. Drivers with a lower perceived likelihood of having a serious accident or without guilt for driving while intoxicated are expected to be more likely to choose to drive after drinking. It was concluded that alcohol consumption, even at low dose, significantly affected driving-related skills, such as vision, braking behavior, and vigilance. At the same time, drivers' information process and attention were heavily affected by alcohol. Therefore, drinking driving will cause significant change of the indicators of vehicles' traveling condition on urban street roadway segment. In a word, alcohol will cause high vehicle speed and unsteady traveling both in vertical and transverse movement. They are the direct reasons of traffic accident caused by drunk driving.
Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. My name is Arifa Ilyana binti Zainal Abidin and I'm going to explain a bit about the effects of driving under the influence of alcohol. Driving under the influence of alcohol can impair the ability of driving. Alcohol is said to cause a few alterations in behavior, including disrupt concentration, perceptual functioning, motor skills, and decision-making while driving. The influence of alcohol varied by some factors such as consumption style, which is frequent or infrequent, driving expertise, driver's age, and expectations about their consumption. We move to the next point. Driving under influence of alcohol can also affect on driving skills. Drivers use their hands, eyes, and feet to control the car, but their hands, eyes, and feet must be controlled by their brains. Drinking alcohol can have a profound effect on driving skills. Drinking alcohol can negatively affect things such as tracking, perception of distance and speed, and reaction times to respond to changes in road conditions. In addition, alcohol causes disinhibition effects on the cerebral cortex of the brain, which can increase aggressive and risk-taking behavior in some individuals. Last but not least, driving under influence of alcohol can increase the risk of causing traffic accidents. Unsurprisingly, a small amount of alcohol in blood is able to cripple driving and increase the risk of road accidents as the volume of alcohol per liter in blood accelerates. Rate of alcohol in blood subsequently followed by several aspects like the speed of drinking, the type of alcohol, having previously ingested some foods, along with age, sex, or body weight. That's why cases of drunk driving that cause traffic accidents in our country increase by year.
Hi, I'm Batrisha binti Baharudin. We are to discuss the factors and the effects. So, what is the best way to prevent deaths from drunk driving accidents? First, adopt the zero tolerance policy. This policy focusing on aspects of enforcement as well as the implementation of strict punishment and intolerance. With this policy, penalties for drivers who are under the influence of alcohol also provide no deviation or forgiveness against him. As part of these initiatives, educate them on the importance of moderation and are encouraged to use alternative modes of transportation, including e-hailing such as Grab. As drivers choose not to drive no matter how alcohol they drink, there will be no need to enforce a legal limit for alcohol consumption and law enforcement for drunk driving. Second, police enforcement. Implementing the enforcement strategies by considering time and location, with frequent unscheduled police surveillance before midnight in places with more drinking activities such as nightclubs and night markets. Also, there are some research that say the possibility of the driver checking by the police inspection on the side of the road will reduce their intention to drive after drinking. Next, increase law enforcement towards drunk drivers. According to Road Transport Act 1987 in Section 44, driving while under the influence of alcohol or drugs could be fined 8,000 to 20,000 ringgit and minimum jail time for 3 years. Section 41, drunk drivers who cause injuries or death could be jailed for maximum 10 years. This law is seen as weak and the punishment is too light. Therefore, the government need to amend the Road Transport Act 1987 by imposing a heavy penalty and enforcement by increased fines or jail sentence for the drunk drivers. Next, encourage education programs at an early age by introduce driver licensing schemes and safety education programs in high schools. The more the risk of driving while intoxicated is understood by the driver at an early age, the more the intention of drunk driving can be prevented. The targeted groups for education are drivers under the age of 18 and drivers over the age of 50. Lastly, change heavy drinking habit. we can educate them with more knowledge of higher health risks caused by heavy drinking. Also, regulating the sale of alcoholic beverages and standard operating procedures, which is SOP, to premises that sell alcoholic beverages by imposing higher sale prices or health taxes for beer, wine, and all other alcoholic drinks with the limited time and location.
For conclusions, federal regulation constitutes a DWI as driving with a BAC level of 0.0% or higher. A motor vehicle may include car, truck, bicycle, or any other vehicle. Each state has its own laws surrounding DWI convictions, such as the fines involved, jail time, and possible revoked or suspended license. Depending on the legal charge, some states may also require community service time or alcoholism treatment. Many states have enacted various laws in an effort to reduce the dangers of drinking and driving. For instance, zero tolerance laws are aimed at adolescents who get behind the wheel of a car after consuming alcohol. Drinking under the age of 18 is illegal and in the Malaysia and comes with strict punishment. If you are charged with underage drinking and operating a vehicle, you could face severe legal penalties. A DWI or DUI conviction can impact your life in a number of ways. Consequences of drinking and driving can hurt your family and relationships, cost you employment opportunities, cause financial difficulties, high insurance rates, and possible time in jail. Other than that, under the existing law, efforts in preventing death related to substance use should be strengthened and targeted on specific days such as Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday, and also the times such as midnight till dawn, which are recorded to have the highest incidence of substance use. High suspicion of driving under the influence of substance use should be given on middle-aged and young drivers that drive alone. Besides, drivers' drinking habit, attitude toward driving after drinking, subculture of persistency by men, and lack of knowledge regarding drunk driving regulations influence drivers' act of driving after consuming alcohol. Alcohol control zones are important to ensure aspects of enforcement are targeted, while a zero-tolerance policy explains the strictness of enforcement. By regulating the sale of alcoholic beverages and standard operating procedures such as SOP to premises that sell alcoholic beverages, it's leading to aspects of prevention and control that are also interrelated with existing enforcement and legislative aspects. Firm regulations and control should be handled excellently or efficiently by the authorities in order to totally avert drunk driving, even if it is only takes a small percentage in the road traffic cases. Significantly, deaths by drunk driving will no longer exist as a lawsuit.